Welcome to the Business of Pleasure podcast. I am your host, your sexologist, Bestie Cash, and today we are about to get into some real spicy, good conversation. You know this is your one-stop shop where we put the fun in funds and we put the sexy in success. Now, I gotta give y'all a disclaimer before we even get started. This month is not about y'all ladies. Don't think y'all gonna hear about vulvas this month. This is Men's Health Month, and all of the conversations that we'll be having on the podcast this month is gonna be focused and centered around male health and pleasure and all the things that surround them. And you know, we get a lot of times a year where we're the focus, but I think it's really important that you guys understand we gotta have safe spaces for men to feel like they can have their conversations, that they can talk about, you know, as one of our past hosts who's here again today said, they got nipples too, right? So that's what we're gonna be diving into today. I wanna make sure that you guys be aware that sometimes the conversations we have do get a little heavy. And I think today is one of those days that trigger warnings could be applicable if sensitive subjects come up, because we're going to talk about mental health. We're going to talk about physical health. We're going to talk about pleasure. We're going to talk about self-care focused on men. Okay. So in order to do that, first and foremost, we had to bring back someone that you already got an opportunity to meet, but we're going to give him a little bit more time to talk and you guys to get more familiar with him, because we're actually celebrating. Since then, this individual decided to join our family and came on board as one of our amazing influencers in our community. And that is none other than TahoeTV.
Hey. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? It's great. My nipples feel amazing. I hope you feel amazing too. Shout out to Bedroom Kandi, and of course, shout out to Kasha.
Thank you. And see, the next individual that's sitting beside me is not someone who's unfamiliar to the BK community either, because I actually have to give it up, sir. You've been about 2 years now, an educator and influencer within our community.
Yes.
So this is somebody who's already been giving you the goods. And so of course, we're going to have this conversation. We wanted to make sure that we did it with individuals who not only understood the conversation about pleasure, who were transparent and open, but also had a familiar, understanding of the things that matter to us here at BK, which is to empower, educate, and earn.
Right.
Now, we have 3 different spicy segments that we'll be going into today, and we're going to kick it off right now with our first segment, which is designed to empower, called The Pioneers of Pleasure. Okay, this segment is to give the flowers now to the individuals who are out here paving the way and having the important discussions focused on pleasure. So I want to turn over to you, sir.
Okay.
And because we know that you're someone who's out there doing it as well, and give you an opportunity to greet the audience and tell them a little bit about yourself, because I know they heard a thing or two about Tahoe, but this is the first time they're getting to hear from you.
Yes. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Sir Marvelous. I always get a little bit weird when it comes to trying to explain exactly what it is that I do, but I am a BDSM professional dominant. I am a kink consultant, a pleasure coach. I'm basically the person that you come to if you want to learn about BDSM and kink and you don't know where to begin. So there are so many people that just don't know how to practice some of the things that they fantasize about, how to talk through or work through some of the things that they've always wanted to try, or how to hold conversations with their partners about things that they want to open their relationship up to. So I'm definitely that person that you can land on when it comes to wanting to explore those things.
I love that. And just to really quick kind of give that refresher to anyone who might not have had an opportunity, and if you haven't, just go back and watch episode 3. It's a good watch. But Tahoe also has an amazing platform where he's centering a lot of conversations in the same space. So Tahoe, could you just tell them really quickly about your platforms and, let them know a little bit about your passion for what you do?
Yes, my name is TahoeTV, and I am jealous of his suit and them socks. Like, you see this?
Shoes, he coming through.
Look at this guy. He looks amazing over there, man. You glowing, my brother. And that's what we do on the Hard or Soft Show. We speak about men, but we also want to empower men to feel safe and comfortable with speaking about their sex and stop being so scared to be like human beings. At the end of the day, most of our lives, we said that, you got to stay right here or you're not
a man.
You're not masculine. And I am here to say, it's all right for me to tell my brother how good he looks over there in his suit. You know what I'm saying?
That.
And how dope it is to wear colored socks. Like, I got on white socks. I'm embarrassed.
He about to say you shopping next after this? Let me find out.
No,
it's funny because...
Right. Oh, God. It'd be good. Serious faces, guys.
Y'all see we kicking it off early over here. The energy is high, and I love it. So guys, okay. I know that we starting on a high note, but the reason why I wanted to have this conversation with you guys, because I really feel like y'all are going to be real, not just with me, but a lot of our audience. I want to say our demographic is over 90-something% women listeners. So this is going to be y'all chance to tell the ladies the things that y'all feel that they need to hear. Okay.
Okay. Where's my book at? Hold on.
All right, now, ladies, we're going to have to compartmentalize some emotions because we might hear some things that are tough to receive. But I hope that you guys understand that this conversation is happening for understanding. This conversation is happening to improve your ability to empathize. Because I do think that in reality, there's a lot of conversations around not just male pleasure, but male health in general that don't get a spotlight. Absolutely. Right. So I wanted to start this off by sharing some info, right? That is coming from the National Institute of Mental Health. And these are some really scary statistics, right? They say that approximately 1 in 10 men experience anxiety or depression, but may hesitate to seek help. Right. They did say that there was a vast contrast that women experienced the same things, but they were more prone to seek out some sort of help or guidance. And then also at the World Health Organization, they shared that suicide rates for men account for 79% of suicides globally, not nationwide. OK, we're talking about nearly 80% of people who commit suicide are men.
That's a statistic that's mind blowing.
That's
right
crazy.
I gotta be honest with you guys. When I heard it, and I'm doing my research to kind of like really make sure that this conversation has substance, I had to pause because I started to think about how many men are around me. I started thinking about my sons. I started thinking about my brothers. I was just calling people. I'm checking. I'm like, yo, you good? You need anything? You want to tell me something on your heart? Because it scared me, because I automatically started thinking about this. And this is something I want to give you guys to consider before I, ask you guys a few questions on the matter. It made me think about who has influence or public influence, celebrities or whatever, have tried to be vocal about their mental health state that are men that received public backlash from it, right? So individuals like, even, and this isn't just like restrictive to people of color, because like Justin Bieber, for example, being a young man coming into it, has openly talked about his struggles with his mental health and his vulnerability. And some people supported him, and a lot of people was like, it's always this man up concept. Jonathan Majors, when he went through what he went through as well, was speaking about his experience. I've seen Will Smith, for example, even cry, be vulnerable. Kanye. And Kanye and all the time that these are men who have been vocal getting backlash. But then what really the suicide statistic made me think, there are 2 individuals whose death that were men by suicide that really hit me, and that was Robin Williams and Twitch. And not that suicide, anywhere else wasn't, but the reason why theirs hit me so hard is because these were 2 people who I saw as beacons of joy for a lot of people. They brought mad smiles, laughter, entertainment. You would never look at them and think they're suffering to the extent of not wanting to be here anymore. And so it made me think about the first statistic. How many of them are suffering in silence? And then one day we all getting hit with this news that this person left the family, had kids. They wasn't really happy while they're out here doing this all day. Comedians, dancers,
I can relate.
And again, like even just pulling this together, it took a lot out of me. So it made me think about how the societal expectations of a man's ability to be openly expressive is something that I don't think women understand. What do you guys feel is the, how can I best verb this to you, right? Do you feel safe in society expressing your emotions as men?
Do you want to go first on this?
Go first. I want to sit on that.
Society is a huge word.
It is.
And it has so many sectors. Family, sometimes I don't feel comfortable because I'm supposed to have it together. And I have children and I have this and that. And then there's just, I don't want y'all to be worried about me like that. So I try to keep it together for y'all to make it seem like I'm a pillar of strength for the women in my community, for the women in my family, or for the children in my family. Like, I don't want y'all to think that it's not going to be okay.
You're like preserving their mental space, but
Yeah,
sacrificing
and I think
yours
I'm a
in the
servant,
process.
right? So I think most men that try to, be the head of household, you're a servant to the needs of your nuclear family. Whatever I need to do to make sure that y'all are okay. And preserving your mental health is a big part of that.
Right.
Another sector of society is the social part.
Yeah, especially not just in person, but now online.
And the social part, a lot of times they want to get that info so they could talk about it. Right. So they could, and it comes back at you. And there's like, in the beginning, there's, right, oh, yeah, hope you feel better, Right. But say something happens 3 weeks later or 4 weeks later, oh, wasn't you just crying like you were sad? Wasn't you just?
Yeah, it's like they're asking you to put it out there, but then they're weaponizing what you put out there right back at you.
So you have to also, right? And then for some reason in social media, men cannot be, again, I'm going to use this word and I don't want y'all to get tired of me using it, human. We can't go through those range of emotions because it's not masculine for you to do that. Right. You know what I'm saying? And that could even land in your house, your girl, your wife, your fiance. Right. Sorry, baby, this is not about you.
But do you feel, off the note of what you just said, because I agree with everything you said. From my perspective, it looks that way to me too. And then the whole notion is supposed to be that home is the safe space or the peace space. Like you can take off your armor, walk in, shed you, whatever. But from what I've witnessed or what I've seen, even in the people that I've coached with, that's for some of the most hostile environments.
I'm telling you, I've heard this and I've argued this on one of my shows, that women say, I don't want a man to think I'm his therapist. Right. I don't want my man to be like unloading his stuff on me and he crying all the time and he emotional all the time. Like, that's not a symbol of masculinity to me. That's not going to want to make me go down on him. That's just, that's just not like, that's something you need to find your tribe, is what they told me. Right. Go talk to the lady, is what they told me. And I had an argument with women and with men that both said, yeah, doing that with your woman can make her feel not unsafe, but less confident about your ability
to lead
or to be the man that she needs to cry on.
Yeah, sometimes because we're so used to holding things in, that when we do find a safe space, because my answer is going to be kind of different. Like, I do feel safe with the people in my circle and that I can express myself to. But that's a gift and a curse, because like you mentioned, we're so used to holding things in that when we do find a safe space, we're like, we're going to give you all this shit.
At one time.
All of it at one time. And then what happens is everything tends to focus on you, and now the partner that you're dealing with or whomever you're sharing with doesn't feel like they have a safe space to talk about them, because every time y'all together you want to talk about you because you've been holding it in. We're just now getting comfortable with the idea of expressing ourselves and being, like you mentioned, vulnerable and human, and just kind of tapping into our emotions. It's kind of like what you and I spoke about earlier. So many men say, I want a freak in the sheets and a woman in a thing.
Right.
But then women want a man that's going to be masculine, but also in touch with his emotional side, but you never give him a safe space to do that.
To be in touch with the other side.
So like, how is he going to gain that experience, you know? So I guess it's just about like, it also makes me think of this other advice I got, which is you do have to be careful about how many hats you expect your partner to wear, or how many hats you expect one particular person to wear in general, because it's hard to be somebody's therapist, somebody's lover, somebody's business partner, somebody's family or relative, and all of these different things at the same time. But we have to prioritize it. That's the point.
Yeah. And I'll say this as a woman, right? I understand where you guys are. And I think a lot of us even feel overstimulated 99% of the time. I got a million thoughts running through my head. But I think what has helped me over time is making sure that the person that I do choose to give that time, that therapist, that whatever the case is to, is deserving of it. Yeah. A lot of times I find that most women are taking their negative experiences from other people who may have put and now you're inheriting it. So now your space is a little less safe. because last time she gave that vulnerability, someone, attacked her. So now you're paying for it.
Yeah.
But one thing that I will say, and then maybe this could be a piece of advice for the women that has helped me separate it is I'm always measuring, I can say this like this: service without love. It ain't gonna work. Because if I don't really care for a person to a certain degree, I'm gonna always feel like it's labor. But when I love that person and they poured, equally into me, I find it in me to see the service in me in a positive light. So I would say, that's something to consider. If that person is doing everything, like you said, coming in, making sure the house is stable and the center is secure, then they deserve to have a space where they can unpack. But I'm not going to go too deep into that because a little bit later I want to talk about giving some advice to them.
Before you do this, I want to give an example.
Okay.
I was talking to somebody recently about a situation they went through with their partner. And the guy exhibited signs to me of anxiety about trying to make sure she was okay, but it was something that he was uncomfortable with. And the closer it got to them doing it, he got erratic. It didn't go well with him with what was about to happen or with the situation that they had agreed on.
Okay.
She called him weak for that. She got upset with him for that. Right. And I said to her, I was like, do you think that he felt safe really telling you that he wasn't okay with that?
Right.
Do you think that he was kind of trying to force himself to do it because he didn't want you to look at him crazy? And then now when you're seeing him physically uncomfortable, like literally mentally falling apart, you blame him for it. So at the end of the day, is like, how safe was he either way in this situation? Imagine that in almost any real sector of life, finance, sex, relationships, whatever it may be, where a man can't actually say no. He can't really be himself if it doesn't align with you because he's weak. He's whatever word that you want to use. And a lot of guys wind up, that builds up. That builds up, and you really are not able to be yourself, to express yourself. We're talking about suicide. How many of those men, a lot of those guys I would think are in finance and things like that. It'd be a lot of finance, or not being able to please their woman or whatever, right? Seem like a man in the house. What room did he really have to tell you, I'm broke, I'm scared, I'm nervous? These are words that most men probably won't even say unless they're talking about somebody else.
Yeah.
These are words that most ladies out there, you've probably never heard a man say, I'm nervous, unless he was joking. I'm scared. I'm financially inept. You're not going to hear that. But all of us go through it. If you're going through it in your household right now, guess what? He's going through it too. Yeah. But he has to make sure that you're okay first. That can be extremely, extremely stressful. And I can't tell me him. I don't know Marvelous like that, but I would assume that he's had to create a friend group that he felt safe with. Yeah. The ones we grew up with, you can't say that to.
No.
Oh yeah, it's a whole
different. You can't be like, yo, I'm scared. To your guys, they're gonna be like, he said he's scared. Like, what you scared of? She gonna bite you? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's a joke. And I say this, and I said this to you before. Kashi and I have done so many episodes together. I believe women don't realize, and this, though, ladies, I empathize with everything y'all go through. Trust me, I am so much of an advocate for women and y'all health and y'all, just everything that y'all go through. I couldn't find a word. Sorry. I got about 5 words in my vocabulary. Y'all heard every single one of them about 5 times already. So let's deal with me as I try to figure this out. The one thing that y'all don't realize that y'all are lucky to have is community. Your friends normally provide community for you. When you're going through, they come over, y'all lay on the couch, y'all all under the same blanket, and they bring you like, oh, that girl, you this and you're that and you're this. They build you up. They're there for you. Like, come on, let's go over here. Come stay at my house or whatever it may be. Don't even go home. Whatever it may be.
Yeah.
What spaces do men have to do that?
Something. Oh, go ahead. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, that definitely brought something to mind. When we go through things as men, especially if you're trying to go on a different path than what you normally do, which is kind of like revert back to like bad habits to get you through whatever you're getting through. If you're trying to do something right, sometimes you got to avoid your friends because they're going to give you that toxic masculinity advice. You understand what I'm saying? And it's like, nah, I actually want to be better this time. I don't want to just go back to doing the same shit that I used to do. Like I recently went through a situation where I loved my uncle to death, but I had to avoid him for a couple of weeks just because I knew if I shared with him what I was going through, the advice he was going to give me was on some like, and I'm like, nah, I don't really want that. You know what I'm saying? I want something that's actually going to be healthy for me. I actually want to be able to, like you mentioned, be able to be vulnerable, be honest, and get real feedback and criticism that's going to build me. You know what I'm saying? But we don't really have that, man. It's hard.
You know, man, there was some things that both of you guys said that's hitting home. One, that gentleman, he's not weak, he's aware. That gentleman, he was not weak, he is aware. If he's able to articulate and say, I'm feeling anxious, that's an awareness. That is not a weakness. It actually is weak if you can identify it, in my opinion, and you just out here moving erratically, and you can't even see, yo, I'm operating within a state of anxiety. You haven't taken the time to become aware of the emotion. But I always say, and you know, it's so funny, sir, we talked and I shared this with you recently, I don't believe in bad emotions.
Right.
I don't call any emotion negative. All emotions contain data. You know what I'm saying? And I say to people all the time, if you didn't feel pain, you wouldn't go to see a doctor sometimes. And if you didn't see that doctor, you might not have that test. And that test might not have revealed to you this problem. And you could have continued to ignore it. You know what I'm saying? So is it really bad? Or was the pain the thing that actually helped you get better? Right? And I think that that's something that people have to consider. If I'm feeling sad, it's data, right? The other part of it is, emotional intelligence is really just an intelligent use of emotions. We learn how to use our emotions in ways. Sometimes rage can feel the best gym session you ever had. You know what I'm saying? You go in there, throw the iron like you never threw it before. You know,
I've been trying. That shit don't work for me, man.
You know? You're like,
I can't lift this shit. You know what I'm saying? I think that's no. That's just
but for you, the anger is the deterrent. But when you're motivated, you probably get in there and you're like, yo, we about to throw. So it's how you use the emotion that shapes the outcome. And so I always say that to people because that emotional intelligence, you cannot consider yourself to be that without awareness, because you can't regulate something you don't know exists. And then you can't give empathy and understanding if you're not able to recognize it in yourself. You know
that brings me to another point. Everybody's not qualified to be a safe space or to give you advice. So, you know, like that's what I was thinking about when you mentioned it. I was like, another thing that men tend to do is we give each other like that's superficial advice. Get money, you know what I'm saying? Do this, do that. Like it reminds me of Robin Williams. Like, how you gonna tell Robin Williams to get money? He rich. He got successful movies all over the world. He got fans that love him and adore him. So when we think about things that build men up, or what we've been told is supposed to build us up, or what's supposed to be our identity, how are we supposed to feel when we already have the things that you're telling us that we're supposed to get to make us feel better? I got the money, I got the fans, I got the followers, I got the platforms, I got the this, that, and the third, but I still feel lonely. I still feel hurt. I still feel nervous. I feel like now I'm kind of scared of losing it all. So it's like it goes from shifting to like not having enough to being afraid of losing it all. You know what I mean? And like, where do you go? And because we don't speak about mental health, because we don't speak about emotions as much, so many of us, even when we want to give good advice to the other person, we don't know. Like, I'm blessed to have you in my life. Like, I can call you and be able to say, like, I'm able to talk to somebody with some actual certifications that know, like, real terms that's like, yo, you're going through this phase and you're going through that phase. Most men don't know how to communicate that, and it ain't because we're not intelligent. It's just that certain forms of intelligence we're not familiar with, you know?
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. And in thinking about what qualifies a person to hold space for you, because, you know, a safe space to me, we talk about just the space, but the safety element of that sentence is the most significant thing. It's like when you put something in a vault. You know what I'm saying? And you got one key and the bank got the key. You know what I'm saying? You want to know that whatever you put in that vault is good in that vault. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to have to worry about the security. You share your information. If I give you my social, I ain't want to worry about it being on a brownstone in Brooklyn about tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was a really strong point. Thank you for that. And you mentioned that, you know, a lot of people don't talk about mental health. And I want to talk about it. And I also want to, at one point, speak to you guys about the impact of it on pleasure, first of all. But and doing the research, I also wanted to, when they said not a lot of men seek help, I said, well, how many do? And what they came back and said that the American Psychology Association said 20 to 25% men seek help despite higher rates of, depression and anxiety. But what really, to me, and I don't know if you guys separate the two, I don't see self-care and self-upkeep the same. Right. And when I say that, I mean self-upkeep. I go get my nails done, I get my hair done, or whatever. It keeps me upkeep. Truth be told, I don't enjoy doing either of them. Like, it doesn't make me feel cared for. I look good, but the process is it's annoying. It's like, I'm gonna sit here for hours. I gotta have some, I can't use my hand. I'm trying to send a text. I gotta be like, sorry. I don't like doing upkeep, but I might do it. Yeah. But self-care to me is more the things that replenish you, right? And I'm always curious. I think we see many ways that women dive into their own self-care, but it made me curious on average, what do you guys use as mechanisms to care for yourself, right? Outside of the spaces that might not exist or whatever the case is, what is your definition of self-care for you?
Go ahead, brother.
That's going to expose a lot of us. Most men don't have a self-care regimen. We might get a little self-care based on what we're doing for our woman. We took her to the spa, so I guess I'm in the spa too. You know what I mean? Ooh. But the idea of like, this is for me, this is what I'm doing. Like, again, it goes back to those arenas where it may not be the most helpful place, like spending time with the boys, going to the bar, or going to watch the game, or some type of like community like that. But that's not self-care.
It's not just for you.
Yeah, it's not just for you. It feels good. It may be enjoyable. It's kind of like the analogy you use, but is it really building you up? Is it like, I've been in a time of reflection right now, and I'm realizing that like I had to build on some of the self-care things that I do. Like journaling is something that's been self-care for me, believe it or not. You know what I mean? Taking baths and just being more intentional with my body. As feminine as that may sound, it actually fucking works.
Why is that
taking
feminine?
baths is crazy? You don't bathe when you stressed out? No, I'm just playing. But I will say this. It's not, I think I disagree with you there a little bit.
What's that?
Most times when a man is actually taking care of himself, he does go get his nails done, or he is groomed
so it's different for
more, right? You see that he don't, his beard isn't going crazy, or he's actually he uses cologne, or like you can sense that he's in a good space. I remember in times when I was really in a really good space, I would go get to the foot masseuse. And this was this Asian lady. She was off in the middle of nowhere. There was no reason for me to drive all the way out there and go sit with her and with the nice music. And she had like a black tooth. So she wasn't even like, attractive. Yeah. But this was my mode of like, yo, this was my piece. Yeah. I always asked for her alone. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I sat back, I put Drake in my ears because I ain't like their music. I put my Drake songs on. And this was something that I did to just decompress and get away. But that's when I was really like not overwhelmed with all of the things that I got going on, or not stressed or in my head or thinking. I had time to say, okay, yo, Tahoe, come on. Today, you know what I mean? Let's go do this. Then go over to the nail shop, get my nails cut, my cuticles cut, and all of that, and then show up. And she's like, my girl's like, yo, you going out or something? I was like, nah, it was just a me day. You know what I'm saying? Just feeling good. And so I think that you can tell when a guy is on his shit. It's like, if it's not like he's not marvelous,
right?
No. I've never seen get the shovel.
You know what's so funny about that is I rank. The spa and taking baths, those are care forms for me. But I would actually, I can see that for a man having that ability, because there's nothing more arrogant than a guy after he gets his hair cut. Like, it's like, it's a whole new energy and a whole new aura. And I'm actually happy you said that, because I do agree with you that it's not the same for men that it is for women, because I think we have so many different things at our disposal that could be like the care. It could be girl getting together and having some drinks with our girls or whatever. And like you said, the pamper sessions, the uplifting sessions, we go to empowerment conferences. We do all these things to take care of ourselves and our mental space. And what I found, most interestingly enough, is obviously with Bedroom Kandi, we have the grooming collection for men. They don't even know we have stuff for men. Can we just, for 2 seconds?
Nah, hold on.
Oh, yeah.
Because I got stories, but I know you talking about it. Because I want to get that stuff. Bro, this...
Go ahead. Yeah, Really?
This is called head to toe.
Mm-hmm.
I got this gifted. If y'all can see, look, you can see all the grease. This is mine. They're in my studio right now. This is mine. This is used.
Not the 2 fingers.
All the way in there. Bro, this is one of the best products I've had in my house. I don't know what they put in it.
Well,
but this shit, it feels good, bro. I get out the shower because I use the bath oil in my community. I got my little Discord community. It's like, yo, put the bath oil in the shower and then you wipe off, whatever. And I never forget before I leave the house to put on. This is called head to toe hair and body balm. I didn't even know they made stuff like this for men. I had no idea. And this is one of the best products I've ever had. And I'm telling y'all, look, you can see it. All that's grease from me using it. I'm not even bullshitting.
No, you know what's so funny though? I've never put that in the hands of any guy. I didn't fall in my uncles, my sons, my brothers, all of them fall in love. And what I think is the best part about it, because I actually do little trick things. Like I take the men's wash and I'll put it in a soap dispenser as a hand wash or things like that that have pheromones in it, because people wash their hands and then throughout the day they just keep smelling their hand and while I'm feeling so good, because the pheromones can work on you too, right? People think just pheromones about attracting others, but when I put pheromones on, it gives me this like light aura. I'm out here like, what's up? Like, so that it is a pheromone enhanced product. That's the first thing.
I knew
it just make you feel
I be
good.
like this.
And you're making light of it. You're making jokes of it, but that's serious. If you notice, I love a woman that has to put on multiple things. You know what I mean? In order to really get settled. Then I love when they layer it, and it's like those women be the ones that are really in touch with their body. And like men, we just get out the shower, we just air dry, just jump in or whatever. But when you start to take time and like prioritize, like you said, putting different things on your skin and like paying attention to how it makes you feel and how it makes you smell and the confidence it gives you, like that's a whole nother level. And fellas, trust me, man, smells go a long way. Like they evoke emotions. They're things that you can remember. They latch onto your memory. Like there are things I know that happened at 10 years old. If I smell it, I'm like, it takes me right back there.
Yeah. You know people connect that often to food. But if your mom used a certain perfume or your dad used a certain thing or whatever the case is, when you smell that thing, it's like, when people smell it, they tell me it reminds them of black ice a lot too. But what I love the most about it is it's not going to smell the same on you that it smells on him, because y'all have different pheromones and your natural pH. But I just experimenting. I realized even with my man, like I'm just like washing his beard and exfoliating the skin. Next thing I know, every time I look at my scrubs, it's like lesser and lesser and lesser. He coming out looking like he bathed in shea. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, shea butter, brother, like whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying? But you're right, because here was the other interesting thing I did. I'm very music influenced, and we are a company founded by Kandi Burruss, so it's a music thing over here too. I got a whole playlist that makes me feel sensual, touching my skin, NDRE, brown skin, I was looking for songs that men created that had those feels, and I really was struggling. Any sensual neo soul, they were singing to women. I never heard. I'm
singing to himself.
Just singing about it, y'all. It was insane. Women, we do it all the time. I am this. I am not my this. I am my what. We are constantly affirming ourselves in all art forms, and I could not find one song. I found a lot of motivation videos and stuff on YouTube, but just like something that if I wanted to put together a playlist, because I actually went searching for it to find put together a playlist to help like play in the background while I decompressed, my man massaged his temple and stuff like that, searching for hours. And it just made me even more aware that even in music, when men do express emotion and it's not, and it's sexual, this and that, it's pain. I hear men rap about their struggles, talk about their pain, but I'm like,
or they brag about superficial things. It's no internal.
It blew my mind. Y'all. And I'm somebody who this had me in a rabbit hole, craving information at this point. And I talked to my uncles. I talked to them and I said, what is it about the product, or what is it about, one of my male customers, he buys this spray, like 2-3 bottles at a time. He calls it honey. He says it attracts the bees, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. But I asked him, what does it feel like after you come out of your shower, your skin is looking good, you're just looking this and that, or whatever. He was like, I feel like it's nothing I can't take on. So And I think, sir, you had did a video once that we shared in your dungeon where
Mm-hmm.
your barber came over and he was getting you together. And then I was scrolling and scrolling because, you know, the algorithm's also always listening or paying attention. And I came across this barber who was doing his $200 service.
Oh, we love that shit.
Yeah. But he was not just giving you a haircut. He was washing the bits. He was exfoliating. He was this and that. Yo, them men was sitting there looking like they was
really sitting here, and I was going to say this.
Tell me about it. Talk to me,
I was going to say this. And this is, I'm going to say this on my show to the men as well. When the last time you told your partner, get in the shower, I want to bathe you. I want to wash you. I want to scrub you down. You know what I mean? Like, and actually take time on their body and even hold them while you lathering them up. Like, just imagine, ladies, imagine if you did that to your guy.
Yeah.
Like, because a lot of times, I told you, we feel like we're in service. And it's just the way we are. Like, it's just we know we have to do something.
And fellas, so be open to receiving it too.
Just to be able to receive it, or she like sit you down. Yo, how good it feel when she want to do your nails.
Oh, I love that.
You know what I'm saying? Like that, y'all don't even realize it. We sit there like, yo,
they be like,
do my nails, but
look, they be like, look. I was gonna say,
you know what I'm saying?
It's almost like when you little spoon a man. They be trying to sit there act like that.
I'm King Little Spoon.
Oh, when they get Little Spoon, they be ready to snuggle up on you the same way.
Y'all don't realize how much of a release that is from what we normally walking around with the world on our shoulders and stress, and we don't want to share or whatever. Those little things are so releasing. And I can imagine, I must have had this for a month before I opened it, right? I must have had it for a month before I opened it. What if she'd have came to me and rubbed me down with this, like, yo, I love this smell on you. I love how this feels on you. You know what I'm saying? I'd have been way back in this. I'd have dove in this head first. You know what I mean? But here I am, getting my Jergens. You know, because I got to finish the Jergens bottle. That shit don't never enter. It doesn't never, shit ain't never going nowhere.
And no matter what, it's just never,
it's never going nowhere. Now I don't even reach for it. That shit is over there getting, I was about to say get hard, but my brain. Because I reach for this every time. And yo, I just feel like, yo, we really need to, with men, we need to be, I don't want to say taught, because we're not taught to do that. We're not taught to take care of ourselves in that manner. We're taught to take care of everybody else, or to put off superficial things to make it seem like we don't.
Make it seem like we're okay. My daughters, when they get out the shower, like I noticed that like we prioritize making sure that they put on lotion on their body, and like young boys too. I won't say that my mom never like prioritized, but it was a point where it was just like not important for us as a male, and as it was for a female. You know, little things like that.
There's something you said with the Jergens that I can't not come back to. Do some research, guys. But there are direct associations between the parabens that are in products like Jergens, the not natural ingredients, and mental health. You know, they're saying those types of things are leading to cancer, all these type of things, what you put on your skin, because your skin is a major receptor of things. It absorbs things through the pores, right? And you guys do a lot of things that generate heat. So your pores are constantly being a little bit more opened up. And when you said that, it's also making me aware that sometimes people don't even realize what things they're just applying on a topical thing that's also not contributing to their health. And I'm happy you said that, because the product that we have is vegan, right? And that might not seem that important to somebody else, but what you put on and in your body will absolutely shift, you know what I'm saying? Not just how you feel, but the health state of your body. I didn't used to care about stuff like this. And it's funny because you said, I think it was either one of you guys said something about women in our bath regimens. I had a reverse issue for a while. I didn't used to prioritize it, right? Because I'm, you know, mom in this. 5 minutes, I ain't shower. I'm trying to find the time to get it in. So taking care of my skin was not the highest priority. And I was light skinned. I felt like, you know, I could get away with it most times. Couldn't see the ash or whatever. What slapped me across the face was two things. One, when I went through my deepest emotional trauma, losing children, it was taking a different body product or something that I committed to making a part of my regimen every day, and not telling myself I don't have time for it and whatever. And I realized it shifted not only my relationship with my body, like you said, they be the most sensualist or whatever, that I wasn't just applying it. I was playing music. I was in there like, I am ready for love, all that stuff. It changed. But the other side, there's 2 times in my life that I got to experience a man that I love go through a really significant traumatic thing, and I had to be a part of their recovery. That first one was my grandfather. And unfortunately, by the time we knew what was going on with him, it was a little too late, right? He was fighting cancer. And the first thing I had to do as a teenager was change his diaper. And I realized the discomfort he had. He felt like, as this man, he was a Marine on top of it. You know what I'm saying? We talk about a guy who got up every day, tucked the sheets, corners is perfect every day. And now he can't do it. He can't even wipe his ass. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It was the most humbling thing. But then the second time happened this year when my boyfriend got into his car accident. And he couldn't lift his leg, the most things, whatever, that he couldn't do. And I remember having a conversation with his boy, and I said, everybody's looking for his physical recovery. I'm just trying to watch this because recovery is mental. Yeah. And it was humbling for both of us to have to take him in a shower, put him in a chair, like you said, wash his body from head to toe.
I don't want to be a burden on you. And I got to do that again. Like I might struggle and hurt myself so that you don't got to look at me like that.
I'm so happy you said that, because that's one day, you know what I'm saying? He could have, because instead of waiting for me, right, or he getting up trying to limp his way to the shower.
That's what we do.
Stand and do it by himself. You know what I'm saying?
That's what we do.
And I'm sitting here saying, I'm like, honey, you know, I joked with him. I said, I take care of your balls. Like I'm saying, and we're not just talking about the sexual aspect, but I take care of your balls. Yeah, I'm gonna clean them. Those my balls. You know what I'm saying? You can't be in there damaging the goods further. You're already going through it. But it was one of the most connecting things it changed the complete path that we was on after that. Because after I had to clean your ass crack, you know what I'm saying? I had to get up in there.
Yeah, that's a level of intimacy.
We ain't cross. But I want to say to women, the same way that I had that experience as a result of a negative situation, a trauma, all right? You don't have to have that to be the case, because once you crack those levels of closeness, there's no looking back. And then you'll find that there's nothing else you can't talk about. There's nothing else. Every time he try to be funny or he try to act all stoic, I'll be like, come on, babe, I done cleaned your ass crack. What is it? You know, so I love that you shared that, because I think that, you know, one woman should be encouraged to not just, next time you're doing your own self-care thing,
include your man.
Come here, baby.
Come here.
Yeah.
Come here, baby.
Yo.
With the softness.
Yo. And that's something y'all know. Ladies, y'all know we're not going to do that for ourselves. It's not that we don't care, but we just, first of all, we don't even realize how good it feels most times, because we got all of this other to do. And you prioritize the necessities of the family and everybody else. You're way down low. If you was to ask me what I do to deal with the stress, I just say drink water and masturbate. Yeah. That's what I do. And it's just a little shot of dopamine, a little shot of water, and I'm pushing. You know what I mean? I'm not doing all of those things that actually make me feel good as a person, and then having it done for me. Yeah. Taking that weight off of me, saying, yo, let me just do this thing. Because I'm not saying that women aren't in service to men as well. I totally understand that. And I totally agree with that. But there are some things that's just very lightening. It just makes you feel so much lighter, so much cared for. So you feel more like a person.
Right.
And there's a transition that happens. I remember when Siphon, one thing I love about her is like, when she used to pamper me, you know what I mean? But I also, now in hindsight, I remember I can picture myself like kind of resisting it at first, because like you mentioned, you don't want to be a burden. So when somebody offers you a massage, you're like, I guess, like you want to be like, hell yeah, I want a massage. Or hell fucking yeah, I want a facial.
Y'all want it just as bad as we want these feet rubbed.
I guess if you want to, I mean, if it's not, you know what I mean, you kind of drag your feet to it because you don't want to be a burden.
You don't hop on the table like,
and it took
you ease up there, but you kind of secretly like,
which
way you want me to sit?
Which way? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's okay. You know what I mean? But when she was
smiling, acting like you can't see your face, but you over there like.
She used to put the facial mask on me, and again, like, I don't even know why I used to fight it, even though I knew it was something that I wanted. You know what I mean? I guess it's the brat inside me, but the facials, she used to put these things on my feet. It was like bags with oil in it, and just let it soak in, and then after that, just rub me all down. Like, that feels amazing. And ladies, I'm telling you, men need that so much more, and don't take the fact that they may be a little resistant to it as their truth. because it takes time for us to get comfortable being comfortable in that type of situation.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Well, you know, I honestly think when you said you don't know why, I believe that it's because no one's ever validated it for you.
Yeah.
Right. And it's different when you have a person who not only is telling you come here, not only encourages it, but is validating your right to have it. Right. You know what I mean? Like I'm not even just saying come here, let me do it. I'm saying you deserve it.
Yeah.
It's okay. You should have it.
There's a very toxic perspective too that some people, and this goes for both men and women. Sometimes we don't accept things because we don't want to get used to something that ain't going to continue.
That ain't going to keep going.
Ooh. You know what I mean? Like, don't give me something great.
Don't get me hype, right?
Yeah, and it ain't gonna never happen again. Or I'm gonna have to look forward to it for a very long time.
I gotta be like, yo, babe, what the next time you want?
Right. You know what I'm saying? And now again, you feel like a burden because it's like, man, you do this for me and I get hooked to this. I'm expecting, I need this at least once a week, once a month, minimum.
I'm sitting here thinking about it because I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I resist service to me very often, unless it's sexual, right? Sexual, it's like, all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, right, fuck it. But I don't know if I have a skewed vision of what masculinity is. And being in a soft spot or putting myself in the softest spot, I don't know. It just kind of makes me feel like I'm not being the masculine presenting person that I'm supposed to be in this moment. And it does take a lot, as Sir Marvelous said, for me to actually be vulnerable with somebody. Because being vulnerable with somebody means that they have the ability to hurt you. They have the ability to alter you in some way. And I've been working my whole life to build this appearance or this, this aura of myself to allow somebody in where they might crush it or take it away or make me feel less than. And this just goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning, why mental health with men is like, we hold back. We're not letting it out because you cannot permeate this thing that I've built around myself because I don't want you to view me as less than.
It's like you're showing a crack in your armor.
It is.
Right?
It is.
You're showing the one, I always say with people who've ever, I went to military school. So, if you ever watch a fighter, some of the best fighters is all of that. That's cool. They looking for the one weakness. They looking for that one shoulder that seems to not respond as quickly as the other, or that one thing. And they as soon as they lock in on it, and they might not come at it right away. They might let you think, they might let you exhaust yourself. And at the moment that you are your most tired, you done exerted all these blows, they're going to hit you in that one spot and take you out. And women, let's be honest, we are experts. We are skilled at the art of psychological warfare in some ways, in the sense that we sometimes can plant a bomb that don't even go off in that conversation. Later on, you just sitting there just chilling and be like, yo, she said.
Y'all scaring me, man. Y'all scaring me. That hasn't been my experience the last few years. Like, I've been blessed. Like, I've been really blessed. And it scares me to think that, like,
there are men who feel
I'm going to probably have to deal with somebody that's going to be on that type of time. But it's the reality.
It comes into, vetting them a certain way. When you like I said, when you're aware, you know what to kind of look for. And there are certain signs that might indicate that a person is a safer partner than another. And, one of the things that I find, and my friends call me, like for lack of a better term, the dick whisperer, right? They'll say stuff like that, like, you just have this way of doing this and this and that. And for a long time, I rejected it. I don't like hearing stuff like that because I don't like to think that it's, but then I had to really ask myself, I did grow up with a lot of male influence who, I've been talking to men my whole life. And I think it's important, talk to your brothers, talk to your cousins, talk to youngs, have conversations with them, because then it'll help you shape, how you approach those conversations with men. But the other side of it is that you got to know how to speak to his ego. You're not going to stroke that ego. And like I said, validate him. For example, we're very good often at pointing out the flaws. Oh, you haven't done this for me. You didn't do that. You don't do this. We're not always the best at acknowledging when there's progress or change, or that one pat on your back or saying, yeah, I see what you're doing. I see that you.
It does happen so often that we get used to people just taking us for granted, and they don't even realize they're taking us for granted because they're just so used to us showing up the way that we do. For example, if you just start dating a person and you know, you pick them up from wherever they are, pick them up for work and bring them back. And you're like, oh, thank you so much for picking me up. You know what I mean? I ain't got a car and you got a car and you made this so much more convenient for me. But when you in a relationship, I'm on my way to pick you up. It's like, it's just common knowledge. I mean, it's common, you know, interactions. Or if you, again, were to take somebody out to eat, or if you were to even order food from a really nice restaurant or whatever the case may be, person's going to be appreciative. Thanks for ordering food. Thanks for taking me out. But when you're in a relationship, it's just like things that just are expected. Is expected. And it's just like, how many things do both men and women, but since we're talking about men, but how many things do men do regularly on a regular basis that may be overlooked as a kind gesture? That we could probably be getting a little bit more credit for, or more, a little bit more acknowledgement for.
Recognition is king.
You know what I'm saying? Kids will teach you that, you know,
reward systems,
the reward systems, but also like kids will teach you that like they expect you to just have and have everything that they want and have everything that they need without no real gratitude to be shown to you. Like this, it's rare when you see a child say, you know, thank you for something that is an essential part of their life. You know what I mean? But when you talk about dealing with an adult, you expect that to be a little bit more noticeable, like be able to be cognizant of the idea that like I'm doing shit to make your life more convenient, or I'm considering, I'm making sure you have your coffee, I'm making sure that you have your food, I'm making sure that you have a safe space, I'm making sure like all of these different things. And, you know, some people don't say anything
people
about
don't realize that recognition shifts worlds, first of all. There are people who are more ambitious about doing things for recognition than sometimes any monetary benefits or anything, simply because most people go through their lives in most spaces unnoticed. You could work for a company 20 years and not be acknowledged for your service when you retire. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, oh, another one out the door. So you see people are constantly looking for opportunities to be recognized. But also I think what happens is as we mature and we adult, it's the strangest thing to me is that our emotions become more complex, but our expectations of maturity around those emotions become higher too. For example, you just referenced the child. Well, if I say, you're not supposed to do this, and my kid goes, it's strange to me that they're able to cry about everything and nobody's really expecting anything else for them, because they're giving the real raw emotion that we all wish we could do. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't have an expectation on them. But actually we get older, our life circumstances get more complex, our emotion range gets more complex, or whatever the case is, but there's an expectation to compartmentalize more. And so what I think the bigger issue when it comes to this conversation is, even with women, if I'm being honest, if I cry while I'm talking about something I'm going through, sis, you strong. You're so powerful for this. Thank you for your transparency, sis, your vulnerability. Oh, there's strength in your tears. They don't see my tears as a negative. Socially, it's acceptable for me to cry. Right. But if a man cries, man up, oh, come on, you're being sassy, this and that. It's a direct adverse reaction to the same emotional release. And I think
you want men to understand what you're going through and empathize with the times that you feel emotional. But the minute that they want to cry, it's a problem. It's unsexy. And I could imagine it could be unsexy, but we got to reframe that to understand that like he's connecting, that he's being connected with his emotions. When's the last time you cried? Like cry
all the time.
All right, that's good.
I'm a Pisces.
I was about to say,
I'm about to cry.
We live in the ocean. We live in the ocean.
I'm glad you stopped me. You heard my voice right now. Like this.
So are you crying out of anger and frustration, or are you crying out of sadness?
I cry for all types of reasons.
Okay.
Right. I'm just very in touch with my emotions as a Pisces. I just allow it to flow.
Yeah, just let it out.
I don't even try to hold it back.
It took me a long time. Like I experienced a lot in the last few years with, you know, my mom passing, other family members passing, and just things happening that like a lot of different things. And I didn't cry. I remember around the time, the month that we did Bedroom Kandi with you for the first time, that was the month that I found that my mom passed away.
I remember that now. Oh my God, yes.
And it was like all in the same like 48-hour time period. And I was like, oh, God has put this Bedroom Kandi thing. I'm working with Kandi Burruss, and this is great. This is going to distract me from what I'm going through. You know what I'm saying? Amongst many other things that was happening. My daughter's mother had just experienced a stroke as well. And it was like all of that was happening in that small time frame. And I was just like, when I got these other opportunities, I was filming with like Rory and Mal, and I was on tour with this and doing this. And I'm like, oh, all of these great things are going to keep me busy, because as a man, when we go through things, we're told to keep busy. Go to the gym, go get money, focus on yourself, go buy something materialistic like a car, a house, or whatever. Things are going to make you look nice or feel good. And for me, that was just like being more successful as Sir Marvelous. And that entire time, I did not allow myself to cry. I cried for like maybe a minute at my mom's funeral. You know what I'm saying? And then fast forward a couple of years later, I'm going through this reflection period, and I finally let it out. And it was one of the best things that I felt in so long. It really takes your soul to the laundromat, so to speak. You know what I mean? And like, we all claim to be spiritual people or woke spiritually, but we don't, and we admit that like energy can't be destroyed. You know what I mean? But you can release it. You can release it. If you don't do anything with it, it's going to stay there. And it's so crazy, because I encourage people to cry during my sessions. One of the things that happens a lot during my private sessions, even though we're not talking about sexual shit so much, but is that
we going there, don't worry.
I encourage crying, and it tends to happen more often than not. It's become more tantric. And one of the things I tell the people while I'm beating them, as crazy as that sounds, right, is let out, show me your weakness, show me your war cry, make noise. Because in the real world, especially when you're dealing with women of like power and position, they're not allowed to show weakness. Especially Black women, they can't show emotion. They're the angry Black woman. So it's like, as I'm hitting you now, I want you to stomp your feet, I want you to spit, I want you to curse, I want you to tell me it hurts, but I don't want you to tell me you're yellow yet. I want you to fight through it and show me that you're weak. I want you to show me that you're reaching your breaking point. I want you to be able to let that out. Because in the real world, we're not allowed to say, yo, I'm really fucking hate this. Don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And when they ask, you know, and even when it's like, part of me spanking them is like giving them aftercare, during care. And I'm like, if they want me to kiss their ass, I got to tell me to kiss your ass. But I'm not going to tell you to don't tell it nice. Tell me it like you want to tell all those people that's asking you to do shit you don't want to do. And they go, kiss my fucking ass.
Oh,
kiss
wow.
my ass. And they let that energy out. And it's just like, and then somehow, well, not somehow, but then with the affirmations and stuff that follow, it comes to a point where like the tears just start flowing when they realize how much emotion and how much frustration and energy they've been keeping in, that they finally been able to let go.
Oh, that happened to me this week. It happened to me this week. So here's the flip side of it. I think here's the benefit, ladies, because a lot of times y'all don't do stuff unless we figure out how it also come back to you, right? So for you, if that's you, this is for you. I realized that because my partner is emotionally vulnerable with me when he needs to be, and it's never something that is ever like he's been having, you know, if he has a free flow of feelings or he just wants to rant or just want to get it out, it's always a room to do it, right? I even, you know, I know how to bring him out of it, like the Betty effect or whatever the case is. But recently, you know, we were having a sexual experience and it was great or whatever, but because I trust his leadership and because he showed me his awareness of his own self, I feel more safe with somebody who clearly is in tune with them too, you know. But right in the middle of everything, he's sitting here telling me, let it go. And he was talking about from my vagina, you know what I'm saying? To be clear, he like, don't hold that, give it to me. And he told me to release it. And I cried. And afterwards, he came and he helped me and he started to affirm me. You're safe with me. You don't got to worry about this no more. You don't like, and I just kept crying. It was flowing and it was flowing and it was flowing. And
like
then,
an emotional orgasm.
Man, it was insane because I have been carrying a lot. And, you know, like you said, women in power, women who are in certain situations, we also suffer some of those same things because we're a beacon of hope for a lot of other people.
When you're frustrated, you can't be frustrated. You got to be in problem
solving mode. You got to
be
in mode. And he asked me later, and this is one of the most beautiful things because he's always seeking the deeper meaning. Why? What made that happen? I said, because you told me to. It's that simple. You commanded me to. You said release it. And it came out. The water flowed. People have to understand them phrases, you can't hold water. You can't. Water is one of Earth's elements that is the most uncontrollable. You can even fill a cup with water and leave it sitting there for a week. It's going to evaporate little by little. There's a water cycle that literally says you can't keep me in this cup. You cannot keep me in this cup. I'm gonna evaporate. I'm gonna condense.
I'm gonna spill out.
And then then I'm gonna come back down wherever I see fit. That is literally the cycle of water. So y'all have to see that with tears. And I'm saying this to you guys, and I'm saying this to any man or woman who might share this with any. Sit down and watch this with your husband, your sons, whatever, as long as they're over 18. But you can't hold water.
Right.
The problem that I feel that most of the time you guys do is you turn yourselves into ticking time bombs.
Ticking time bomb.
You are literally walking. And when that explosion happens, now what happens? He's angry, he's aggressive, he's violent, he's punching walls,
those moments
he's throwing
do
this.
way more worse than good. Now you can't even.
You can change your life with one bomb going off in the wrong place.
Or you miscommunicate, or what's the best thing that people do? The most common thing is like they're angry about something else, but like
Take
the toilet
it
seat
comes
shit.
out something else.
It comes about
Next
like
thing you know,
Kevin Hart said, the toilet seat or the fucking microwave door. It's nothing. It has nothing to do with the microwave door. It ain't nothing to do with the microwave door. You angry about something else that you've been holding in for weeks now.
I said that the other day. The women say, "Oh, I don't know how men go through this, and they just like hold all their emotions in. They don't cry. They don't crash out. They don't." I said, then they pull up to a light, and the dude next to them try to cut them off, and they shoot them dead in the middle of the street.
I was gonna say some guys take it to the gym. Some guys take it, you know what I'm saying? The other thing, sports, they get on the court, they taking that fuel, whatever. And then others do stupid things. They take that aggression and they end up in a fight. They end up making a bad choice. They ended up, the bomb goes off in the worst possible chance.
Or they put it in a vice that isn't healthy.
That could land them in jail or dead. They could land them in jail or dead or in a mental institution.